Good morning! Everyone's favorite time, GM screen time.
Oh, I just thought the morning.
No!
I like the morning. Morning's great.
We are here to give people more reasons to post angry statements online about our company. So, we got two things to go over for GM Screen. First thing I want to note, can I note one thing, please?
Sure.
Thank you. It's gonna be a question. Jason, how many revisions do we normally go through on a product?
Like conception to release product?
Yeah.
Oh, a dozen?
At least. I think people don't get how much iteration there is in design. My philosophy for design, you have to define your constraints, which for me are like basic price and basic functionality. And then you initially just want to achieve like almost a minimal viable product. Can we actually make this occur? And then from there, you then make it better and better and better and better. That's how I approach it.
I feel like we usually, when we show a product on Wyrm Lyfe, it's pretty far along. We've already established we're doing this product, we can do it. And
Great example is the display vault. When they first saw the display vault, I think that was already at version, I don't even know. How many prototypes have you gone
3 or
through?
4 when we first started showing it. Probably like 2 months into designing the display vault.
Yeah.
It gets on Wyrm Lyfe.
And that GM screen was day one.
Yeah.
It was almost hour one.
Yeah, right.
So here's the big decision I think we actually have to make. Solid wood versus frame and panel.
Choose your fighter!
And I want to do, just before we dive in too much, a little bit of edumacation for the kind viewers.
Yep.
Solid wood. It's a solid piece of wood. Moving on. This I would call a faux frame and panel. Again, not the most elegant version of it. This is a frame and panel. And the big difference is a frame and panel.
Yeah.
Ew.
Cristaldi.
Yes.
Fuck my ass every single day of my life. Adam, vocabularize what we're seeing here.
So you have rails and stiles.
Which one's the rail, which one's the style? I never know.
Rails are horizontal. The reason I remember it is think about it from like a stair perspective. Your rail is like, ooh, my handrail is horizontal.
So we've got rails and stiles.
And they go together with like some kind of mortise and tenon or spline system.
There we go.
There it is.
There we go.
Oh.
And then you have your floating panel.
So why is it a floating panel? Like, why aren't you gluing the panel into the rail and
The
stiles?
floating panel concept is from a stability standpoint because this piece is going to expand and contract at a different rate that your frame is, right? If your grain is running this way, it's a large piece of wood. This is going to grow this way. This panel can do that, and it doesn't like bust open your door.
Right. Bingo. Now this we cannot, just to be clear, we cannot take this apart.
Correct.
This is a piece of wood. I have made a list of operations between these two.
I like the short one.
Both of these two start in the same world, which is milling, making rectangles. So it's gonna go rip, chop, glue, plane, sand. What we would yield is one piece of wood. This would be one long piece of wood and this, right? So at this point, all we've done is rip, chop, glue, plane, sand. This is already one part. This is now two parts. Now we diverge. Solid wood panel is going to go to the CNC. Frame and panel. The panel itself could either go to the CNC or it could probably, I think we'd probably do it on a shaper because it'd be a lot faster to just hog out these 4 sides. After that, this bad Larry would go to a shaper to get the primary profile, whatever you want to call that, profile, which would go down the whole length. At that point, this part would then get cross-cut, and then you would have to go to the shaper again on the rails on the short pieces. After that, you could then glue this up, and then once you glue it up, I believe you'd probably want to sand it again. You're gonna get squeeze out coming out from here.
There'll be a little lip there too, so you
Right.
can like sand that so it's flush.
Now I'm gonna call it assembly, which is sand and hardware, and then you're basically done, finished. go to
After that
boxing.
point, they are
They're
doing the
the same.
exact same thing.
So this thing has a total of 14 operations. This guy has a total of 8 operations. And that is where the price point difference lives. So I am guesstimating, and again, this is based on nothing.
Based on years of experience.
This panel right here and just basic ass fucking wood, we're not talking about anything fancy, just like literally to make a frame and panel. I think we're gonna be maybe $150 per panel.
Yeah, that's probably pretty realistic.
Whereas this guy, I think we're at $50 a panel, maybe $60 a panel. Maybe I'm talking about for the baseline.
75, probably about half. That's going to be double the price of that.
That's then the conversation is
Is the aesthetic benefit worth the extra cost?
I'm currently on team solid wood.
I'm solid panel option guy.
I'm still on frame and panel. I think people want quality.
You are on pro. Yep, it's going to take us longer to develop and launch. The price point is going to be probably roughly double, but that's just what Wyrmwood should do. Do you think most people would even be able to tell the difference?
I think people, even if they can't voice it, can notice good design.
I actually agree with that. I actually do agree with that. Ian, do you currently have what was it? Remember Twilight? There was like the two heartthrobs.
Team Jacob, Team Edward.
Team Jacob.
Wow,
So-
that was like,
Oh, that's Amanda's favorite book.
One was a werewolf and one was a vampire.
It's gotta be like werewolf vampire, right?
Werewolf, vampire. Yeah, I'd say more sophisticated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was the vampire?
Edward.
Edward?
wow, so these were also your favorite books.
Are you team Edward or are you team Jacob?
I don't know. I kind of don't really like either of them right now.
If you don't like the design of either, think about it from a construction standpoint.
It's basically a cost question. You know, if we thought like cost really was not that much of an issue and like we're going to sell 100,000 of these regardless, then we should do this one. It is more the Wyrmwood aesthetic, I think. I agree with you that way.
Sure.
This is like the correct weight of the brand traditionally,
Yes.
and that is less so.
I will say we've already gone down that path with modular game table versus Prophecy. We have a $15,000 table, the Prophecy, which is really traditional, lots of handwork, extremely complicated, curvilinear. It's a superior table, and it's $15,000. And we
Yes.
did develop the modular game table because we wanted to grow the company, and we understood that,
Not everybody can afford that.
not everybody can afford that. So you're not on Team Edward or Team Jacob.
I'm team both. I am team Wyrmwood and not Wyrmwood.
Lucas, get the goose on it. So I agree with that. I would not be opposed to we just have like a Prophecy line of everything. It's like we have Prophecy chairs, we have Prophecy tables, we have Prophecy GM screens, we have Prophecy vaults. I don't want people to get it wrong.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a particle board piece of garbage. I don't want people to ever get that distinction. But it would be more modestly priced. Let's talk about just other things we can do, whether we do this strategy or this strategy, other things we can do to increase the aesthetic appeal. This is just a concept. It's Owen, so band. So this, let me pop this one in. So what this is using the concept from our display vault that we could put into either a solid wood straight panel, a solid wood faux panel, or a framing panel. Like this is just a concept. So like if we wanted to allow personalizations on GM screens, it's a lot easier to personalize this than a big chonker. Number two. This is something we are good at. We would be mortising on the CNC, and then we can laser out the pieces and install the pieces in parquetry patterns. Parquetry is in our wheelhouse. Piercings are in our wheelhouse. I would advocate either or both of these if we wanted to offer like, you have a center panel, which is a higher price point, and then as many side panels as you want. Or you could have a lot of center panels, right? Actually, can I throw out one more thing, which is a little bit on Team Jason? Is you can have contrasting panel. So contrasting panel, which you can achieve with veneers. You have wood movement issues and it is a lot more labor. This sort of strategy is like baked into this.
Yeah, I think that's what people want.
This is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hard thing about that is like, what if they like cherry, which is the frame, but they hate black walnut, which is the insert, and I don't think we can do pick whatever frame and pick whatever panel.
No.
It would have to be like, here's your 7 offerings, pick one if you like it, don't if
We
you
can
don't.
achieve things that are very similar to this with the parquetry solution. Yeah. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with the parquetry solution is now it's basically like you're adding in the labor of milling extra parts, cutting extra parts, glue ups, all that.
You are
You're almost approaching
Nah.
this, and I don't think it has the same quality.
I'm gonna push back on that slightly. We are really good at lasering. We are really good at making slats.
It is simpler, yeah. It's technology we know, but like this is way more work than this. Now you're adding on a lot of steps.
Well,
to do the
I would argue this completely vanilla. I actually think this is easier to make than this. Just so people understand like the level of complexity, it's like this would actually probably be cheaper than even this with no embellishments.
I feel like this is again starting to deviate from traditionally what the Wyrmwood aesthetic has been.
Just to play devil's advocate, our most popular products that we make are the class of the month,
Currently,
the layered veneer. Which, by the way, would look phenom on this. Because it's cool, it looks really cool.
It is, I will also, just to throw out, it is also the biggest production nightmare we have.
I agree.
It's like we have more problems producing these than anything else.
If people like this sort of look, that really is a solid wood construction technique, where what you're doing is you're saying, well, we have solid wood and we carve into it a bunch. Let's work with that by using contrasting veneers. So if we go solid wood, we open up this strategy. If we do dedicate to frame and panel, I think we lose this strategy. But we gain this one. Welcome to design, guys.
Yeah.
Welcome to, it's called trade-offs.
Yeah, no,
It's just called trade-offs. Can I throw out one more? Sure. Sorry.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. It is actually a creative solution. I give 100% props to Kelly for coming up with this, because this is, in terms of construction techniques, very doable. Existing technology, we're already running player desks this way. They're just applying it to a different problem. It's like perfect design.
Yeah.
And it is kind of cool. Just let's talk about functional improvements. So let me just go over some quick features. So we have a new back. This top is so we can have, like, you know, you have pieces of paper that it just sort of holds on to. We have little grooves to help make it so taking this on and off is easier. Double panels, we noticed this, you can actually stack them, which is kind of cool. And then lastly, we took the bar, so now that issue we were having before, it does help the shearing issue.
Much better.
Oh yeah.
Much better.
The downside of this strategy, if you want to get a top view, see how it pinches there?
I mean, it'll stink.
Fall apart, yeah.
We can
Yeah.
adjust that though. Yeah.
Oh, and last thing, Matt, just so we don't miss it, I did add a groove on the top. This is already looking way better. The question is, can you guys come up with anything that makes it even better than this?
Why aren't we pursuing the barrel magnets? When they say they want the Matt Mercer GM screen, they don't mean the crazy burl and bullshit. I think they mean that hinge solution.
So it has a rounded profile, and then you have a magnet that's installed here. This magnet is not magnetic this way,
These are diaxially magnetized.
which means plus minus. So my question is just, how do you install that magnet?
All right, so same concept, right? So you have your top edge. And so that solution we're talking like would be like this. But what if we don't do that? We just bore a hole from the top,
This is a great idea.
right? We drop the magnet in. Now the magnet's floating inside here.
No way.
Bung this. We would have to test it, like, you know, because you have your next panel here, right?
Oh, wow.
It's a lot of space.
These magnets can be unbelievably strong.
Magnetic tablecloth principle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the best idea, Cristaldi.
It is.
We would have to test it, you know.
And we cut that on the
One thing I like about this geometry is because this rod is here, the racking meaning like this.
Yeah, that's what I would be worried about.
So now if we're doing that, which I love, it's wood on wood. It's, you can't see anything, it's super cool. Or is it gonna rack?
Those magnets really.
But those magnets
I
were
don't know
touching.
why.
Those magnets were touching.
No, they actually weren't.
Okay.
I actually inset them. So it's like this. You had like the screen and you just install the magnets so they're like inset.
Yep.
So you still had wood on wood.
How thin do you think that wall can be?
I would just start with a 1/2-inch magnet and see if we can make it work.
2 weeks, we can hopefully have a working prototype. We're on our way.
Oh yeah.
Cool, all right.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Happy April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day.
We ready?
Yeah, we just need the man of the hour.
There he comes.
Hey, bud.
What is this? Oh, come on. Wait, am I in the CNC room now?
I don't know, look out the window.
Oh, wow. Dave, how did you even do that? You know what the funny thing is? It's just as loud up here as it is up there.
Yeah.
There is no sound.